Oxford, Cambridge, attention, go!
Their bow ball in front inside the first few strokes, but the Oxford boat now beginning to gather momentum very strongly indeed, and a good even start, and in these increasingly lumpy conditions, and the white water beginning to fly against the power of these 16 blades now as we progress down past the enclosures. And challenging conditions, well, I've said it once, I'll say it again, and it really is the mark of a competent crew to be able to carve out a path through these waves that are building up on Henley Reach. And once again, it's Cambridge who seem to have squeezed out a few centimetres lead, but such a close race. And those of you who are here at last year's programme will have witnessed two of the closest lightweight boat races in the history of the Henley programme. 3 feet and 4 feet were the verdicts, and with that sort of competition, we're very much hoping that we're going to have another tight race here in today's race. But Cambridge, after last year's win, looking for a greater margin on this occasion, and have squeezed out about a third of a length lead. Nick Aycock, their coach in the launch here, just in front of me, keeping an eye on the athletes under his charge, and he'll be pleased with their progress as we move down past the bottom end of the enclosures. Cambridge now beginning to little more settled as their race goes down to 34 strokes a minute. Oxford, for their part, as they get stuck into their race pace, also beginning to gather cohesion. Both crews at 34. The umpire's flag repeatedly raised just to try and squeeze the two crews apart, because there can't be more than about a couple of feet between the blade tips of the two crews. The lightweight women's boat race now coming down within sight of this clutch of supporters, typically Oxford biased, that we find in front of Upper Thames Rowing Club, where the Oxford crews boat from. And right now it's going to be a disappointment for the Dark Blues, because Cambridge really now pushing out and almost have half a boat length advantage. They've upped the rate to 35 strokes a minute, and really taking advantage of these less poppy conditions through the middle part of the course. But Oxford still looking strong and confident, really beginning to build that momentum. They've also upped their rate to 35. They know that to let the Cambridge crew away with clear water at this early stage of the race means that it's going to cause them serious disadvantage further down as we move down around the inside of the Forley Bend, just at halfway down the course. Still half a length overlap between the two crews as we move down. We're coming within sight of the Forley judge. The umpire with their flag raised will get an intermediate time at that point. But times are not important, it's the margin that is the critical thing here over the 2,000 metre Henley course. And it really is so tight, and it mirrors the position at this race at last year's event, when the crew that was down really pushed on so hard to create that very tight margin. Way over on the Berkshire side, the bow ball of the Cambridge crew is about to pass the Forley judge. There goes the flag for Cambridge, and in a moment down goes the flag for Oxford, and that really was less than half a length in it, and Oxford really beginning to build. Both crews now round the slight corner. They can see the Temple Island finish clearly in sight. The umpire untroubled by their steering, because the gap between the opposing blades has widened out to some 4 feet or so. And excellent steering from the Oxford Cox now, moving down Anna Corduroy, who and Oxford have gone for another push. Oxford really begin to build, and if Cambridge thought that they were going to let that half-length lead eke out a further advantage to a more comfortable margin, Oxford trying to prove their undoing, and really the dark blues now begin to power on, back on level terms. I've got them at 36 strokes per minute, and Cambridge will glance across from the cocks to see the Oxford challenge developing, and these two crews now matching each other stroke for stroke. It's Cambridge who are being warned, and they are within feet of each other. And ladies and gentlemen, we are surely heading for another such close finish, just as we witnessed over the Henley Boat Race course last year, exactly a year ago. I know that the winners on that occasion were looking for a more comfortable victory. Oxford, on the other hand, so desperately tried to seek revenge, and Oxford go for another push, and once again they squeeze their bow ball ahead, but only by a matter of centimetres, and now Cambridge respond. Cambridge dig deep, pack on the pressure, and they get their bow ball in front. There's a canvas in it, maximum, between these two crews as we come down within 300 metres of the finish on Temple Island, and the dark blues are not out of it by any means. And Laure Bonfils, the French stroke, now beginning to lead her charges, winding up the rate now, and once again, I cannot pick between these two crews, but I do believe it's Oxford squeezing out. The flag on the island now within sight of the two crews, clearly inside the last 150 metres, and is it going to go Oxford's way again? Cambridge desperate measures here, inside the last 100 metres. Oxford really packing it on. They've got their bow ball in front. Are they going to reverse the decision from last year? They're still hanging on. 6 feet to Oxford at the moment, inside the last few desperate strokes. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, such a close race. The flag is now down to indicate the winner. And unofficially, it appears as though Oxford got it. Let's wait for the confirmation.
Cambridge, sit up, please. Sit up, ladies. And Oxford, sit up, all of you.